Hey folks, I decided to just go ahead and do a quick video on how to read this risk range chart that I'm showing you right now. So what you see right here is all these right here are index. So this is US Treasury 10-year yield, um 2-year yield. This is the S&P 500, the Russell. As I go on and go forth, this is the Nasdaq. So and we go down to like the Nikkei 225, which is we know that that's correlated with the yen currency, and as you can see right here, the Nikkei 225 is a bearish trend, which is pointing to a stronger yen. So what you're looking at over here is if the trend is bearish, let's just use Nikkei 225 for example. If the trend is bearish, what you want to do is, this is the top end, and this is the bottom end of the actual risk range. So what you want to do in a bearish trend, you're waiting for it to get to the top end of the range, which would be 21,470. So what happens is, when it gets to the top end of the range, what it's basically saying is that when it gets to this level, we would want to look to sell the Nikkei 225, but in our case, we don't trade the Nikkei 225. You can if you have that option, but what it's doing for me in the forex world is letting me know that once price get up to that level, I'll be able to take a look and kind of anticipate, what's going on in the market, making sure, things are lining up. Right now we're having, Australia market open in the negative. So that's kind of signaling, a bit of a risk-off environment. And if you look at the bigger picture, like I've been saying, for probably a few days or weeks now, is that, I'm anticipating a risk-off environment, because we have, a lot of stuff going on that's negative. Globally, it's slowing down. Growth is slowing. Inflation is slowing. We have a trade war with the U.S. and China that's kind of heading south at the moment. We have the European election, Euro, which is also fundamentally bearish. Brexit with the pound. We don't know what's happening right now. There's a lot of uncertainty with PM Theresa May resigning last Friday. A lot of uncertainty. We have Bank of New Zealand just cut interest rate. We have Australian bank RBA. Markets anticipating them to also cut rates on June 4th. We have BOC tomorrow, Bank of Canada, anticipating a dovish tone. They kind of went from hiking to neutral and now signaling more for cautious, bearish tone. So it's a lot of negativity going on in the market globally, which hence yen and the dollar and Swiss to strengthen in these risk-off environment. One other thing that I don't talk much about, but I do pay attention to, is the actual VIX, which is the volatility index. The higher this volatility index goes, that just means there's more volatility in the market, which tends to mean a lot of uncertainty. And the higher this number goes, this is the top end of the range, this is the bottom end of the range. As you can see, it's bullish. So how do I interpret that? If it's bullish and the higher this goes, the more risk off or stronger risk off sentiment we have, that's just telling me that we could look forward to the yen strengthening more for risk off environment. And how you kind of confirm that is the day-to-day activities, as you can see with these type of things that's happening. Like we saw the S&P 500 in the New York session closed on the bearish side. We saw the Nasdaq closed on the bearish side. We saw the Dow Jones closed on the bearish side. We're seeing the Australian market open right now on the bearish side. So we're seeing quite a few market signals that's giving us as you can see here, ASX 200, down negative 1.06%. You go back and, like I mentioned earlier, Nikkei down negative 1.7%. Shanghai CSI, and Hang Seng is not open yet, as we're waiting on the Kospi, waiting at 9:30, for most of the markets, Asian market to open. And we all know, once China opens up, if that's negative, which is probably going to point to a negative open, that's just more, more confirmation that, we could potentially see, a strong risk-off environment heading into the European session later on tonight. So with that being said, so what I'm looking at right now is, as I'm looking in the Asian session, is, looking at to see where, some of these Asian stocks are and how they open, like this, as you can see, bearish trend. What that means, again, is if the stock is bearish, that means we potentially see a risk-off environment. And, what this top end of the range is telling me is when I go look to see where price is, if it's at the top end of the range, obviously, that means, if you're buying and selling stocks, you would want to sell, the Shanghai at this price. In the Forex world, how I implement the Shanghai and all the bearish stocks and everything is just give me a signal that, the market, potentially give us a risk-off environment. And that would just mean that I would want to be long those safe haven currencies such as USD, which is the dollar, the yen, the Swiss. I don't really buy Swiss as much, so you'll hear me talk more about the dollar and yen in a risk-off environment. As you can see, this is German DAX. Obviously that's bullish, so you want to buy at the lower end. What that really means, I translate that also to the Forex world. So just giving you an example, you can see the US dollar is bullish. I meant, if it gets down to the 96.87, which it kind of popped, not necessarily all the way down to 96.87, but the trend is still bullish. So, and that would coincide with the risk-off environment also. As you can see, Euro USD is bearish. I am still in this trade. As you can see, the low end of the range is 111. How I would play that is, because it's a bearish trend, it didn't get to 113 when I got in. It went to like 112, I believe 20 or 12, 112, 12 or something like that. I got in right before 112. So I'm in there pretty good from last week, Friday. As you can see, the yen, the top end of the range is 110.43. So if you were to get in when price was up at this level, then you would want to take profits at 109, or if the market sentiment is still strong enough, you would also, hold that trade, or, take profit wherever you see best fit for, for you and your actual account. As you can see, pound dollar is bearish trend. USD Swiss is bullish trend. WTI is a bearish trend. As you can see, you would want to sell WTI oil if it gets up to 61.55. Now, this is not saying that it can't go beyond 61.55. This is a range, just like how you would see a range in my MT4. That range changes every day as price move. As price gets, a little volatile, it moves and the range is changed. So, don't treat it as a solid support and resistance, chart. As you can see, gold is bullish, and I shouldn't say we all know, but when you have a risk-off environment, when you have a global market that's a lot of uncertainty going on, a lot of safe haven flows. Gold is one of those safe haven commodities where a lot of traders, investors flee to, and as you can see, it's bullish trend, and 1265 is where the lower end of the range where you would want to buy gold. So that's kind of how you look at the trend. Copper is actually bearish. Copper is linked to Australia, so copper is bearish. Australia is bearish. RBA is willing to cut rates, and all those things lead back to understanding what to buy and what to sell in the Forex world. and I just translate what I'm seeing here into the Forex world in terms of pricing and timing and stuff like that. So what we're seeing right here now, this is access that I have from my mentor. What you're seeing here is broker's order flow. So I have access to Euro USD order flow where a lot of bids and offers are. As you can see, bids offers was at 12.90. I got in at 12.97 last Friday. As you can see, bids, heavy bids are buying. Bids mean buying, offers mean selling. So a lot of buying opportunity for the Euro USD is at 11.40, 11.30. A lot of selling is at 12.90. So I got in pretty good last Friday, which obviously this get reports every day. So this probably wasn't. Let's just see where it was on Friday. It's 27th, which was yesterday. Bank holiday. So this was Friday the 24th, I believe. So let's see what it was. See, yeah, it was 12.90. So I got in at a fairly good price on the Euro USD. So if I go back up, you would see other currencies that I have here, major currencies. USD yen, a heavy bids at 108.90, 108.80. Offers 111.40, 111.50. Euro yen, Aussie USD, a lot of offers. I don't have any bids at this point. So I'm assuming that they haven't been a lot of heavy buying. As you could tell if you pay attention to what's going on globally and what's going on with RBA, what's going on in just staying in tune with the market. The Aussie's pressured right now for many factors. RBA looking to potentially cut rates on June 4th. The U.S. and China trade wars has went south recent. So I don't think a lot of investors and traders are actually trying to buy the actual Aussie dollar right now. So that's just probably the situation where we don't have a lot of buyers. We have more sellers. So what that really means, sell Aussie on rallies, and that's what I did on Friday, and I added another position again today. As it went against my position, I added another position to sell. So it's just understanding the market, staying tuned in the market, seeing what's happening in the market, and just kind of picking your positions and getting high probability trades. So at 9 o'clock, you're going to see New Zealand yen is another trade that I'm looking at. I was looking for a deeper pullback. Unfortunately, it looks like where is it? Yen USD. Looks like I didn't get the pullback I was looking for. So the pullback I was looking for was I think 71. 71. Where is it? Oh, pullback I was looking for is 71.60, 65. I didn't really get that. So I'm not necessarily trying to chase it. I know it's at the low. I know it's at the bottom end of the session low, which was 71, about 71.50. Kind of came back up a little bit. So I'm trying to see if it could pull back up to 71, at least 65, to where I could get a sell entry. That would be probably it for me on the yen pairs. I don't want to overexpose myself on yen pairs. Anyways, that was just a quick overview. I don't want to make this too long. It's already 14 minutes, so I'll stop here. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Cheers.